Mr. Boo.
Hey everybody, what is up? It is I, Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, your entertainment guru right here on YouTube, and I am here today excited to bring you another television streaming service review. It is the Amazon Prime series, The Boys. Season 4 just ended this past week, and I took the weekend and I finished it, and I'm here to talk about that. So let's get into it. Like, was it good? Maybe. Was it bad? Possibly. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Just to get through this review, I went ahead and took some V, just to power on through it. And full disclosure, I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling well. My eyes hurt. My head hurts. My eyes, my ears, my everything. It feels like I got hit by a Mack truck. And let's just hope that we can get through this video without any interruptions. So let's get into it. First thing is first. Oh, we're back. Whew. That V don't play around. But you know what does play around? And plays around too much. Plays with my emotions. Boys, season 4. Let's get into this. First off, we were introduced to 2 new superheroes, and we knew we were getting, introduced to these 2, and they were going to become part of the 7. So they're actually not superheroes, but they're super a-holes. But let me talk about the one good thing is Sister Sage. Right there. Sister Sage is actually a really cool character. She's like the Albert Einstein, the Jimmy Neutron, if you will. She is the smartest woman on the planet. She's a brainiac. The only downside is she can't stop thinking from her thoughts and everything unless she actually lobotomizes herself, and we do actually get to see her survive being capped in the head because her brain heals. Her brain can repair. Pretty cool. Her superpower is being put to use by basically joining the 7, manipulating the boys, manipulating the world, manipulating Vought, hell, even manipulating Homelander himself. She has like this plan, and she's got it all structured out in her brain already to take over and place Starlighters in camps. Like, she's there to make, Homelander Hitler. She's there to make Supes rule everything and get them into the White House and Congress and everything. And she has a thing for the deep, where she lobotomizes herself and then they get a little lovey-dovey. But now this reject here, this Alex Jones, Kimmy Schmidt wannabe, who was like, oh my god, my show got canceled, let me pump myself full of V and head on over to Amazon Prime from Netflix and see if I can get a job as one of the dumbest, idiotic, most hated characters I could possibly be. And no, it's not the same actress, but man, does she look like an evil version of Kimmy Schmidt. And not even that evil. I mean, she could literally do no harm unless she uses the firearm on her side, which I'll get to the whole Supes fighting thing in a little bit, and that deals with firearms. Don't know why, but her power, that all we've seen besides the power of speech and slander, because she's basically Alex Jones in an American suit, making the freaking frogs gay is what he did, and she's making the freaking fans not want to stay is what she's doing. I don't understand this character at all, because all she does is snap her fingers and there's, like, it sizzles, firecracker, snap, crackle, pop, nothing really big. Missed opportunity? Or are you just saving it for the last season? Because this should have been your big ode to your farewell, and it fizzled out quicker than her little snaps. But yeah, let's get into it. Those are the 2 new heroes. Sister Sage is actually quite cool. I like that character. Really glad they created her. Firecracker, I kind of wish... I mean, we tried, we lit her, and she turned into a dud. She didn't really fire or crack. So let's get into what I have to complain about the season 4 of The Boys. I'm going to start with what got me into The Boys first off was the political overviews, the political parallels, the politics sprinkled in ever so slightly to where you could be like, hey, they're mocking this in real life, or hey, they're paralleling this, or hey, this is what would happen if Supes were in charge. Like a company like Vought and the government and everything like that would keep things under wraps and would do shady stuff, and it would parallel our government, and it would parallel the controversies. Season 4, like if this is why you got into The Boys and you haven't hopped over and watched Season 4 yet, they got lazy. They got lazy with the politicalness, and they literally used Firecracker to be like Alex Jones and CNN and Fox News and every other podcaster out there that's either Republican or Democrat, and literally quote things that politicians, news anchors, and reporters and presidents have already said. There's no parallels when you're copying and pasting what's already been done. The only good parallel that I see that they got away with was the Starlighters versus the Homelanders. Basically, Trump versus whoever the hell he's running toward, because Trump's always got to be someone's enemy or someone's whatever. He's got to turn it into a more than what it is, and that's what Homelander's doing. Starlighters versus Homelanders, Trump versus Biden, blah, blah, blah. Good parallel, but everything else there got lazy. Lazy writing, lazy everything. You're just copying and pasting what has already been said in our real American nation. They weren't even trying. I don't know what happened to the writers. I don't know where they went. I don't know if the strike had anything to do with the script being written or what was going on, or if it was just rushed. But the politicalness that I loved had fizzled out in this season. And what also fizzled out in this season was the Supes. Like I said, Firecracker does nothing more than snap, crackle, pop, and pretty little lights come out. She could be a nightlight to a kindergartner. Her only real power is slandering Starlight, which, let me get into this one first. The Supes' problem here is also the fighting of the Supes, not just their powers. But she slanders Starlight. She's slandering her. She's this big anti this, anti that. She's not down with like abortion or anything like that. She's just always spouting off with like political nonsense and being just in your face rude about it, because she's backed by the Seven. I mean, if you come at her, Homelander's just gonna put his fist through your face, right? I mean, I'll talk about Homelander and how he didn't really add up too much to what I thought he would in this season of the show either. But you had an opportunity where she actually got under Starlight's skin. But so much so that Starlight lost her power. So when Starlight actually snaps and goes full ballistic on her in front of an audience, a live audience, where you could have a great Supe fight with freaking, not firecrackers, but fireworks going off. Like fire and explosions and pops and solar flares on the side of Starlight and all the like fire and the heat and the light, and just have this spectacular show of like this grand finale of like a fireworks show, and leave both women just kind of like wasted, toasted, just okay, it's a draw. Instead, we got a fist fight, and Starlight still has her superhuman strength, so in the fist fight, like we got a UFC fight, Ronda Rousey versus whomever. And it's almost like Ronda Rousey was superpowered and her opponent was supposed to be a Supe, but really isn't, because they use a firearm and they don't really have spark. Like, anyway, what I'm getting at, this woman should not have got off the stage without a lot more damage up in the facial region. They're not thinking these things through at all. Like, these are super powered people, and that brings me to another fight that involves Starlight, where she had her super strength, and yet again they failed to actually show it. Heck, they failed to show the Deep's super strength. Like, if I got punched by Aquaman, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a hole in my chest, or at least broken ribs and bones. I mean, he's punching humans like Mother's Milk and Butcher, and it's like doing nothing. Nothing. Like, they would be more beat up if they fell down a flight of 3 stairs. And then you've got Kimiko, who's actually holding her own against them because she's a Supe. But so is Starlight, so when she goes completely ape crap and gets her revenge on that freaking soul-sucking, animal-loving, if you get my drift, seafaring douchebag of a man, the Deep, she goes ballistic on him, and she actually takes him to the gym. And what I mean by that is she takes his head to the gym, with said weight. She shows him just how hard hitting a weight could be, and she really tries to get his head in shape. But you know what? None of that happens because he gets up and he's barely bruised. If she still has superhuman strength, she can hurt another Supe. Hell, any of them can actually hurt each other. They're Supes. They have superpower, and they each have different superpowers, but in that there's always super strength. Hence why I said Firecracker'd be okay, but she'd be a lot more messed up. But the Deep should be like puree. He should be puree. He should be applesauce. I don't understand why they're keeping him in this show. No one likes him. No one ever did like him, from what I understand. It's just the fights aren't living it up. There's more firearms play in this, and there's more kicking and boxing, and it's like we're watching Roadhouse on Amazon, not The Boys. If I wanted to see people literally beat the crap out of each other, I would turn on WWE or the UFC. If I want to see superhero stuff, I think I'd tune into The Boys. And there wasn't much of that going on, except for when Homelander killed a bunch of humans for the way they treated him in the lab. He basically used his powers then on humans to unalive them, and then this, he did like kind of tear the spider guy who's supposed to be their version of Spider-Man, which is grotesque, and I'll get into that because let's get into the childlike jokes they had. Dirty humor. More so than they've ever had before, and it's like, okay, that got you there, but now you need to slow it down. But basically, in half, and then like he laser-eyed some lady. Okay, cool, we know he still has it, which brings me to my next bit, since I was talking about the fight, and I'm gonna mark these off right here. Why is it, I said there was a big fight with Black Noir, the Deep, and the Boys. Why would you send your two most incompetent people to take care of the Boys when they're humans? He doesn't know at all what's going on with Butcher. He doesn't know Butcher has like a venom parasite in him. He doesn't know that he's got the tumor and everything going on in him, and there's like a venom in him. We are Venom. We are Butcher. He doesn't know that. So why wouldn't he just go himself? A man who could literally probably topple buildings, or, I mean, he's supposed to be Superman, and I've seen Superman actually catch a plane and set it down and land it, unlike Homelander, who just deserted the plane and let everyone go down. And why wouldn't he just handle it himself? Like, is he that egotistical? Is he that just, I don't have to do anything, I'm management. There's a spill here, let me call someone else to mop it up, because I'm too good to have a mop, even though he could have it mopped up in a second. Like, he could have just went in there and just everybody. And we know that none of this makes sense because he could do that to Starlight. He could do that to Kimiko. Heck, Starlight could have done more to Firecracker or the Deep. We know that. Why? Because there was a character who was supposed to be the second most powerful person in the entire show, and that Venom-esque parasite that comes out of Butcher just kind of took her and made her into two separate halves like it was nothing. He cut through her like she was Swiss cheese. Just grabbed one end and another like two T-Rexes, getting a meal and fighting over it. Like it was nothing to just take her out. And I thought she was supposed to be the one who could take him out, like the lady from Gen V who controls her blood and everything. Like, why couldn't she harden her blood and save herself? So none of this makes sense. Okay, the power leveling here is way, way off. And then just the fact that Homelander could literally do it himself. If he is the most powerful, and you've already basically destroyed the second powerful, he could have just went in there and slapped them around until he repainted the office. And speaking of Homelander, what is up with his son? What is up with Ryan? Is he bad? Because, I mean, he was good. And then, while they were trying to explain to him, I mean, they're probably trying to be like, oh, it's teenage angst. He was anxious. He didn't mean to do it. But taking out his nanny, taking out his aunt, taking out the woman who's been trying to help Butcher take him away from the situation, which is Homelander, and then just casually strolling out, not a tear in his eye. Like, are you kidding me? These are the people that actually consider him family. Homelander, all he wants is, I have a son. Just like any king back in the day He just wants someone to take his place because he knows he's getting older. He sees the hairs. Hell, he keeps the hairs. I don't know why he keeps gray hairs, but the man's a freak. But his son was good, and like, why the sudden change? Why would Ryan just fling her across the room like she's nothing and then walk out without a tear in his eye? Like, I don't get where they're going with any of this. So even on Ryan's story, like, your power levels are off. Your story with Ryan is off. It's all off. Now, before I get back into some bad things, two good things. Love Butcher's Parasite. Love that Billy Butcher, even though he's basically on his way out, he's got one whole foot in the grave. He's going out fighting because he's got that parasitic thing in him, and I love Venom. Who doesn't love Venom? I want to see more of that parasite. What's not to love about that? That is a good storyline. And then another good storyline that we got to see follow through to fruition, A-Train. We loved to hate this man. We hated to love this man, but he started realizing the Seven are terrible. They're false. They don't do anything. He wants to be a hero, and well, I'll be damned. He helped, and he took off. He ran off in fear, took his tracker out, but hey, we got to see A-Train turn the tide, turn a new leaf, flip over a new stone, whatever you want to say. Went from good to bad to good, back again, and everything in between. So those were two good things, as Billy Butcher's story arc and A-Train's story arc are getting pretty good, and I love where they're headed. Now, another really good thing before I get back into this, which I did not put on my notes, Ashley. What's Ashley going to do in all of this? You know, the one that pulled out all of her hair and made herself bald because she no one wants to work for Homelander or Vought. Like, it's terrible. Like, she has literally picked herself bald. They were taking people out on a list. Ashley was on that list. She ran and took V. We all know what V can do from the opening of my video, but it was like breaking her, bending her, like she was turning into some sort of werewolf from London. An American werewolf in London, if you will. But that's where it left that. So what powers is she going to have? Or did she really just mess up and hurt herself? Because that's going to bring me into Huey. Oh, Huey. My Huey. Shock value, sick gags, and jokes at a character's expense. They took Huey's father away for no reason at all, and they did it in such a shock factor way that doesn't make any sense at all. They just wanted you, they're just wanting to hurt Huey left and right, and I don't know why they want you to feel for him the way that they do, but in this season, not only did his dad end up getting V and going just insane off of it, and still like developing Alzheimer's after waking out of this coma and having powers where he's like going into people and they're just exploding, and shock and awe. That's all it was shock and awe and everything. And it's like, I don't understand why they would do that. And then to further humiliate this guy after they wipe his dad off the face of the planet like that? Like, Huey actually has to put his dad down after all this. Like, then they take a wonderful character like Huey and they have him like sitting on cakes and being Tech Knight's slave, and Ashley's there doing gross stuff with him, and the whole time this is supposed to be happening is because he's dressed like that spider guy I was talking about, Web Weaver, who's another really gross character. This is all just sick humor. Instead of shooting spider webs like Spider-Man, no, it comes out of a hole in his bootay. He is literally a Spider-Man. And speaking of really gross soups that we got to meet along the way, there was one who could literally make a bunch of himself, like Shadow Clone Jutsu, but like X-rated because he likes to be in a circle with himself and give himself pink eye. That's as far as I'm going with that. And Tech Knight, what is up with Tech Knight? Like, I know in the comic books, I've never read them, but I was warned about Tech Knight in Gen V. We saw Tech Knight in Gen V. He likes holes. Quite a bit. Loves them. He's a little weird and freaky, and I think that's a play on Batman and Robin. I don't know, because Tech Knight is a detective who uses a suit, which we never see in the frickin' show at all. Never see the bat suit. It's Bruce Wayne and a bunch of fetishes. No bat suit. We kind of see Robin in a way, because he's got some guy in a gimp suit, and it was actually like his partner. It was his boy Wonder. I don't know, but we never actually get to see anything Tech Knight can actually do. And I also heard in the comics he was a good guy. Why is he working with everybody? Why is he like, oh yeah, let's lock up Starlighters with my money. I'll make the camps and they'll be, unescapable because I have technology. Like, we did get to see the Tech Knight cave, which is basically the set of a Ron Jeremy movie. And then we just get to see Hughie infiltrate it, and then he himself gets infiltrated in ways I can't speak of in YouTube. And then to further do that, there's a shapeshifter, which is kind of a cool soup, and we do get to see her like ripping her skin off and turning into other people, who acts like Starlight. Hughie doesn't know it. They go there. They go and do a bunch of stuff with each other. And then you got the whole dynamic that came after that with her and him, and how she was mad at him, and it's like, well, he didn't know, like, it was still you. Like, my wife was even like, it was still you, he thought it was you, it was you. I don't know why they put that in there, because why would Starlight for an instant even be mad? Because she knew what was going on. She was trying to escape. In fact, she degloved herself to escape, to get to Hughie, to save him. So I don't know, like, where the writers were on that. Like, is this Justice League before the Snyder's Cut? Are you just handing episode after episode to different freaking directors and writers and saying, well, there's season 4. Let's go, boys. And that brings me to the last two things. Speaking of everything with Hughie, speaking of everything with the guy who clones himself, this is all just gross humor at this point. Gross humor, molestation jokes, fart jokes, being alone with yourself jokes when yourself is 6 other of yourselves, being alone with yourself so much you give yourself pink eye. The gross factor got them there, but much like the politicalness, I think they just went too far with it now, because we're not at the age where we're laughing at shows like South Park and Beavis and Butthead anymore. We're grown adults watching an adult show. And it was fun for the first couple episodes, because you know it's the boys, you know it's gonna go there. It's gonna go places no man or woman ever wants to go, and has never wanted to go before. But it seems to me like a lot of pee-pee caca fart jokes. It's just, how gross can we be in all of this, including all the way down to bringing a man back in the ending and smacking mother's milk with an appendage that I can't say what it is here on YouTube. But even that, like, bringing him back, and I thought he was funny. I kind of, like, thought it was a great gag, because it's like, wow, what a superhero power to get. Like, that's got to be very inconvenient. But it just down to just everything. I think the only other good thing I can think of is we finally got to see the daughter of the vice president, who, like I said, got torn like it was nothing, yet other soups get beat with weights, and like, the balancing is terrible. We did get to see her fight Kimiko. That was about the only soup versus soup fight where there were actual powers being shown and being had. And it was short-lived, and there was a little nod where they see each other later and give each other dirty looks. That was kind of cool. But the gross factor, dude, you guys, this is season 4, you're ending on season 5. You don't have to be childlike in humor anymore. You don't have to get us to laugh at farts or laugh at humiliating Hughie left and right. You don't have to get us to laugh at any of that. It's not Monty Python where people are just projectiling everywhere. We want to see this end in a good way, and you're taking everything that got you there, and you think it's going to finish it off, and it's really ruining your finish. So, lastly, before my final thoughts, Frenchie and Kimiko. What in the hell? Frenchie and Kimiko. Like, why are there so many subplots for these two characters? Like, you didn't even know what to do with Frenchie, so you kind of copied Kimiko and made it Frenchie, but you really made it weird. Because Kimiko was like, oh, I was part of this thing, I was made to kill, I blah, 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 I gotta love myself before I can love anyone else, which we thought they were already in love with each other, but I'll get there in just a sec. So Kimiko got another subplot, and that's kind of cool. We get to see about Kimiko's past. That's awesome. She's a cool character. She's an assassin. She was built up as a kid to be mean and evil and blah, 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 and this and that, and that's cool. But then you go and you're like, oh, well, if Kimiko has to love herself, so does Frenchie. And not because he was a drug dealer or you know, deep into the underground of crime with the Russian mob. No, we have to make him love a man that we've never heard of before, a man we've never met before. A love interest pops out of nowhere, and get this, it's the man whose family he unalived. He took them out. It's convoluted as hell, to say the least. And in this relationship with this man, that changes what we thought was going on with Kimiko and him. And I have nothing against same-sex people or people who like both sexes. I just thought Kimiko and Frenchie were like a thing, and that was awesome because I love Frenchie. I love Frenchie. I loved the dynamic between him and Kimiko. He saved her, they became friends, they became lovers. Well, not really, because he's with some dude that we never heard of. And he took out the dude's family, and then it was like they didn't know what to do after all of this came to light. So they're like, oh, let him confess and go to jail for an episode or two till we can figure out what to actually do with him. And in the end, we're going to go ahead and go right back in a full circle with wasted time and wasted episodes to him and Kimiko actually being a thing and loving each other the whole time. Wow. What is going on with the boys? Like, how are you going to tie this all down and make a solid final season? Because the season finale, they tried so hard to make it end well, but like I said, in the capturing of all of them, there had to be a big swinging appendage that just hit Mother's Milk in the head. Like, even there, they had to be like, look what hit him. Laugh at it. It's funny. It's dirty. The whole time we want to feel like they're in trouble. And why capture them? Again, going back to Homelander could already have had this stuff settled himself. Why? I don't understand where they're going with it. I'm sure they'll figure it out. And hopefully their last season is better than their season finale, because I don't even think this was a season 4. I'm comparing this to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This was paid DLC. You paid for a full game and got nothing more than a load of bull crap, which is more like a season 3.5 leading into season 4. And season 4 just so happens to be season 5 because they want to pull a Thanksgiving, or a Thanksgiving, and just skip a season and just say, hey, we're the only show on Amazon brave enough to skip our own seasons, our own sequels. I still liked it. It was slow going, and then it peaked, and then it didn't. It just went downhill, and it never really. The ending was great. And I just don't like the way they did Mother's Milk. I don't like, and even there, the guy has Kimiko, the guy from Gen V. He's strong like Homelander. He could have just, right there, like, why capture him? Not that I'm saying I want the boys to be kaput, but they're dragging things on for another season, and hopefully it's better than this one. Because like I said, this was nothing more than season 4, or 3.5. This wasn't season 4. This is literally, we have a season. Obviously, the strikes played part in stuff. I don't know. But they really didn't go in and fine-tune it, change anything, set back the release date, nothing. They released it, said, here you go, we're happy with it, hope you're happy with it. And no, I think it was I agree with everyone. It was the slowest season. It was the most boring season. They really forgot that they're superheroes. They really forgot that they could put on a really good show. There was less nudity, so that was good, only for the part where the guy cloned himself. But there were still nasty jokes just in there, and then the political jokes were just too straightforward to even care about. And then you got Firecracker, who doesn't know if she wants to be Alex Jones or Kimmy Schmidt. She's definitely not a soup. So with all that said, I'm going to throw this down here, and I'm hoping for the best on the last season. Maybe wait 2 years, really work on it, and get it going, because this was terrible. The season premiere, terrible. The season finale, not so great. Even down to showing Homelander's dad is still alive. We knew he was. Like, that's not a big surprise. That's not a marvel after the ending credits scene. That's something we already knew. I've been Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, and I've rambled along long enough, but this was one of those things where I had to get on here and I just had to rant. Because I love the boys. I love it. I'm one of those people that loves the violence, the gore, the politics. I did like the jokes. But you took it too far, and then you made Huey one of the butt of those jokes. Not cool. So Amazon Prime, I'm definitely giving this one like a 2.5, maybe a 3 out of 5. All the other ones were like 5 stars. This one, 3.5. I'll give it 3.5, but it ain't getting a 4 and it ain't getting a 5. Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, and I'm out.